there's a lot going on with the economy, and a lot of Nigerians don't seem to understand what is going on, because we wake up in the morning, we hear, oh, the naira added another 15 naira. It looks like he's doing 15 naira every day now, heading to 1,005 in a couple of days, if not by tomorrow even. And we don't seem to understand what's going on. But I'm joined now by Achike Chude, who's a policy analyst. Thanks for being here today.
It's a pleasure.
It's very confusing for a lot of Nigerians. And you hear people say, but for 16 years, they held the naira below 200 naira. Why is it suddenly ballooning? And I'm talking like, you know, the guy on the street who doesn't understand, you know, the economics of it all, and how things just seem to be spiraling. And that word is probably the most apt way to describe what's going on. You know, you wake up every morning, you're not even sure, you know, what news is going to hit you, whether it's with inflation, whether it's with, you know, the value of the naira, whether it's the price of goods. Everything just seems to be going on at the same time. What is going on?
Yeah, you know, for some of us who talk in the public space, there is this thinking that by the ordinary people too, that, I mean, we've been doing this for so many years, we should know what is going on now. But I can tell you that I myself do not know exactly what is going on. We can always hazard a guess and maybe talk about it. But I think one way of saying this is that perhaps our sins have caught up with us. The sense of omission, the sense of commission, the sense of incompetence, the sense of, you know, lack of will by the political leadership, and lack of commitment to the Nigerian state, and lack of patriotism. All of these things, and then of course the passivity again of the Nigerian people in the face of various socioeconomic onslaughts, and their inability to play the kind of role that citizens should play. Because, you know, somebody has said that the price we have to pay for democracy is, you know, that we have a price to pay for democracy, and that's eternal vigilance. And so we have not also been vigilant over our political office holders, giving them so much trust. And even though this trust has not, they have not exactly acted on this trust, they have not exactly discharged the confidence. I mean, that confidence that we have in them. So, but beyond that, again, is that it's not science. I mean, you know, what's going on. The reality is that the government decided to embark on satiating the interest of the Bretton Woods Institute, that talking about the World Bank and then the International Monetary, you know, IMF, you know, fund. And so for them, it's all about, for a long time they kept on telling us that our naira was overvalued and that we needed to devalue, you know, our naira. They also kept on telling us about the fuel subsidy, the need to reduce it, and so many other things. All of these have implications, very severe implications, because you're talking about, you know, oil, fuel, that energy, because you're talking about energy, you cannot do anything without energy. And so when energy becomes as exceedingly offensively expensive as it is in this country, it will set off a chain reaction. And so this is what we have always seen for a country that does not, that, you know, provides about, I mean, imports almost 90% of what the country needs. Even people will keep on talking about toothpick, even toothpick, we have to import toothpick and matches. And, you know, we used to have all those companies in Nigeria, Niger Match in those days, and so many of them, the sugar companies, we had them. All of them have, I mean, collapsed a very long time ago, and nothing was done about it. We discovered oil, and wow, everybody went crazy. And people forgot the farmlands and so many other. Of course, the industries, the rich sector was to some extent abandoned. And so these are the prices we are paying. But essentially what is going on is that it's driven by people who believe that the new you know, economic policies of Western capitalist countries is the way to go. Liberalize everything, you know, just, and then devalue your currency, and then allow market forces to determine a lot of things. No serious government does that, because even they themselves do not do that. The French government subsidizes the steel industry to prevent it from collapse. The Americans subsidize heavily food production in the United States. In Britain, it is the same thing. In the Scandinavian countries, it is their dairy products and all that. So the make sure that they protect, certain vital industries within their countries, and then they tell us that we have no business, subsidizing. Look, right now, the European Union is up in arms with the Chinese over the electric vehicles, the EVs, electric vehicles, because it would appear that the Chinese are having an upper hand, and they are becoming quite formidable when it comes to production of electric vehicles. And so they are saying no, the reason why that is happening is because of state subsidies, because the government is subsidizing, and so they are up in arms that you cannot, do this. So these are some of the issues. But like I said, there is no serious government that would allow its economy and its currency to just float like that without any form of protection. So if you are looking at what is going on today, look, over about a year ago, somebody told me, like, the way things are going in this country, Naira would one day get to 1,000 to the dollar. And it sounded outrageous. It sounded obscenely outrageous. That it can never happen. And I berated the person. I said, no, but that's going too far. Now it's going to 1.5. And so if anybody tells you it's going to get to 2,000, do not doubt it. Because the people who are managing the economy seem not to know what to do. So I think we've gotten to the level of, beyond policies here and there. The next 3 months, in the next 2 months, we are going to see something wonderful and the rest. I think they have become like alchemists. They are now trying different brews to see whether any of them is going to come out successful.
Do you not have faith in the CBN governor? Because he did say, he gave assurances, I think, sometime last week in his address to the NESG, saying that, he was going to, I think inflation was going to get down to, I think he said 23 or 22%, and, the Naira was going to get back to its actual value because he felt that it was now undervalued. I mean, he didn't give a lot of the house, but he gave us these assurances.
I do not have faith in the elites. I do not. Because, I think it was Ibrahim Babangida that first said, as a military dictator, that said that the problem in Nigeria is with the elites. Abacha had cause. Another dictator to re-echo the same sentiment that the elites were also the cause. And then we also saw Konjo Iweala say the same thing too while she was in government, that the elites, there is something they know that some of us do not know. But the reality is that the elites have been at the bane of problems in this country. You're talking about the political elites, you're talking about non-state actors who are also elites. All of these people have been in conspiracy for a very long time, to deprive the country of much needed growth. So it's one thing, they say the sweetness of the pudding is in the testing. So it's not about what you tell us, it's about what you see. He can tell us, and they've always told us, don't forget, that they have always told us good things about ourselves. They have always told us good things about government and their government when they come to power. In the past 8 years of the last administration, they told us again what they are going to do with the economy, with insecurity, with corruption and the rest. This government has come and told us the same thing. The government before those governments, the PDP, they also told us the same thing. But what have we always seen? We have always seen a completely different thing. And that's why people would make the argument that every succeeding government would seem to be worse than the previous government. By implication, what that means, if it is true, and I think it is true, is that the country gets worse with each succeeding government, if that is the case. So and these things I'm saying are verifiable. Look at 2015, before the government took over. The indices, economic indices, social indices, you look at them, is it the exchange rate, is it the prices of a basic foodstuff like a bag of rice and the rest and all that. Then what happened in the 8 years that followed? The level of debt from $12 billion to $45 billion and so on, and it is still growing. So these are some of the, so we don't make statements for the sake of making statements. Everything we say is on the basis, is said on the basis of what we see, indicators, verifiable, evidence about. We want to believe, again, let me put it this way. Nigerians generally want to believe in their political leadership. It's in their interest to believe in them. Look, Nigerians don't just wake up and wish them bad luck. Because the implication of wishing your leaders bad luck, if the bad luck sticks, is that things will be worse for you. But when they succeed, you're going to derive benefits from their success. Everybody succeeds. So you have to pray for them, you have to work hard, and so that they would succeed. But what we have seen ultimately at the end of the day is that the people that you're wishing to do well do not even have the intention of doing well, if it is with regards to the common good. But of course, they will work well they will try and do well if it is about satiating primordial, parochial, personal interest. They are very good at that, and they succeed in that very handsomely.
You mentioned non-state actors earlier, and it's something I want to segue into, the insecurity conversation. Or, that's it's always been scary. But there seems to be some sort of brazenness that has been awakened again. In the federal capital, Plateau State is burning, almost on a daily basis now. And then various parts of the country. And for a lot of people, it was quite heavy to see that in all of this, Mr. President went to France on what they called a private visit, without any explanation as to what that meant, without he even addressing any of these issues, and just upped and left. And we saw him on social media yesterday watching the Nigeria game as well, like the rest of us, And, it's this body language we've always heard. Yeah. Let's even leave the action first. The body language, I think, tells a lot, right? Yeah. And with what's happening across the country and just how daring, the insurgents, bandits, terrorists, whatever name you want to call them, have become. What does the year look like?
Yeah, it's ominous. Unfortunately, it's a new year, and then a new year, new beginnings, new hope that things are going to be better, because we dare not want to believe that things will get worse, because we know how bad it has been. We know how bad it was. The last year was a horrible year for a lot of people, with so many ways, so many, we're talking about the economic front. The average Nigerian citizen is finding things difficult to carry out with normal, day-to-day living, paying rent, for his house, children's school fees, even feeding has become a very big burden, all of that. And then again, in the mix, you talk about the insecurity, that is going on in the country, and then the body language of political actors, especially those who matter most. In this case, the person who matters more than any other person, the president, like you said, he's gone on a private visit. If he had told us that he was going on a medical visit, we would say, well, there's nothing he can do. It's unfortunate that our medical facilities are not working, but do you expect him to stay here where there are no working medical facilities and not look after himself? Then we will say, okay, fine, he's gone to, but since it's on a private visit, then there's really no basis, for us not to complain, especially with what is happening in the country, the insecurity that we are facing, and the fact that these people have become more brazen, like you have said. Well, it just brings to mind a saying that a friend of mine is wont, or repeats all the time, that the more things seem to change, the more they remain the same. It is the same thing with Nigeria, because you're talking about body language, for instance. In the midst of the crisis, in the midst of the insecurity, one of the things that characterized the last president was the fact that maybe there will be an attack in Ilorin, Kwara State, and then maybe 45 soldiers or troops are killed. The following day, the president takes off. He's going to one international conference or the other. Then you have the Kuje prison break where people are killed and all that. The following day, the president is on his way somewhere else. And people are saying, look, they couldn't understand that. And then so we also have this situation, for instance, where you had that, was it the Jos attack? Over 150 people were killed. The president was in Plateau State, was in Imo State for the inauguration of the second term tenure of the governor of Imo State. So you put it side by side and you say exactly what is going on. The reality, and that is, like you said, the body language, because people are seeing this, people are watching, and people are drawing their own conclusions that these people don't care. And it's sad to say this. It's sad to say this because we remember that the French, is it David Cameron, went back home to England when a policeman was stabbed to death. He was on a bilateral visit to France, a business visit, an economic visit. And then he heard that one policeman had been stabbed to death. He left. Came back, went back to England, to United Kingdom. That's how you know leadership. That's how you know commitment. 160 people are killed. The president is, an inauguration can go on without him. But nobody told him that, oh God, this is not the best time for this kind of, because of the message we're sending that people are watching, you know. So, and nobody told him that, or if they told him that, he wasn't really interested. But that is worrisome. The brazenness of the kidnappers or the insurgents stems from the fact that when you commit a crime and you get away with it, the heart will be filled with rebellion. You want to do it again, you want to commit that crime again, because there is no punishment, you know, so impunity sets in. And that's exactly what is. They become emboldened. And you see, this issue, and my biggest fear, and my biggest worry, is not just in the success of their brazen attacks, but in the fact that after these attacks, after committing these heinous crimes, we fund them. We fund them with the money, you know, you give them for ransom. It's funding. They are going to get more dangerous weapons. They are going to get more bullets. They are going to recruit more personnel. They are going to become more deadly. You know, so while our security, we are struggling to finance our security forces, pay their emoluments, pay their salaries. Sometimes, of course, you see that some of them are complaining. You are funding terrorists who are succeeding in heinous acts against the Nigerian people and against the Nigerian state. That's what is responsible for the brazenness.
In one sentence, because we are really out of time, is there anything that's exciting about this year to look forward to for Nigeria, besides the Super Eagles?
No, well, I wanted to go there. It's like you felt, because I know that was the previous discussion that you were having. I don't know, but I think, you know, we've been living on hope. We've been living on hope for so long, so I think we should just continue to live on hope and hope that something can get better. Because when you look at the indices, when you look at so many things, you want to believe, you want to hope for the best, that things are going to, but what is there? Is it prices of goods? Is it so? There's really nothing I can hold on to and say, look, wow, this is going to be a fantastic, you know, period. But let's just hope that the CBN governor has said, well, 23% from, you are quoting him and the rest. But we are tired of listening to this one and seeing, you know, them not, you know, achieve whatever. But let's hope that hope will keep us true. Let's hope in hope.
Thank you very much. Yeah. That's all Nigerians have. We've hoped for too long. And I don't know how much longer this hope can hold for, but hey, they say we're very resilient people.